Hello everyone, welcome back to Gardening with the Landscape Connection. My name is Michelle. I live in Northern Illinois, Zone 5. If you are here, it's because you want to learn about gardening. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite, near and dear to my heart subjects, and that is low maintenance. You heard it, low maintenance. Have you ever looked around your garden and went, oh my gosh, there's so much to do? I do that all the time. And sometimes I look around my garden and I'm like, I really need to put some things in this garden that aren't gonna have me doing a lot of work to take care of them. So today I'm gonna talk about evergreen shrubs that I call no prune. And I have put some of these in my garden. I have some of them around the garden center, but it was like the #1 thing I heard when I was out landscaping was, can we have no maintenance? And we're like, there's no such thing. But there is low maintenance. Now, all of these shrubs I personally have grown, and this by no means is an exclusive list. There are plenty of other evergreens or conifers out there that are no prune. I'm only going to talk about the ones that I love, and I'm going to talk about the ones that I have experience with. And so I have a pretty good list though. I think you'll find something in here maybe that you'll like and would want to plant as well. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so glad that you decided to join us. And if you are somebody that's returning, thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. I certainly appreciate it. I hope that these videos are helping you, inspiring you, and maybe educating you a little bit. Leave your comments down below, share with your friends, and if you have not subscribed, please do so. We would love to hear from you and love to have you join us on our gardening journey. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so why do we even plant evergreens? Well, I plant them because they give me year-round interest. They have a lot of texture, a lot of different colors, a lot of different shapes. There are some that are maintenance, and then there are the ones that I'm going to talk about today that are no prune. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no maintenance involved, because I do fertilize them in the spring, and I have to go around and spread my fertilizer around. That's not a very hard chore, though. And when I first put them in, I did have to get them established, which means that I had to water them more often the first couple years to make sure I got that really good root system. And to do that, that means that they want nice, deep waterings throughout the first couple years of growing so that they can get established. Now, most of the ones that I'm going to talk about today, they are going to be in full sun, but some of them can handle some part shade. None of the ones I'm going to talk about today are for full shade, but hopefully you can find one in here that you love and you can plant as well. Now, evergreens come in all shapes, sizes. There's a lot of different colors. Oh my gosh, there's blue, there's yellow, there's green, there's blue-green, gray-green, blue-green, gray, blue. There's just all different kinds. And above and beyond what I'm going to talk about today, I mean, you can plant trees that are evergreen, shrubs that are evergreens. You can create privacy. You can create hedges. You can create windbreaks. You can even use them as a focal point and create like a little vignette around them in your garden. And it can be like the focal piece of the whole thing. So all kinds of versatility with your evergreens. There's soft foliage, there's pokey foliage, and there's foliage in between. Long needles, short needles. There's ones that grow big, some that grow small. So I'm telling you, there's an evergreen out there for you somewhere. And so today I'm going to talk about my favorites, my no prune evergreens. So let's get started with my first one, which is going to be, where's it at? Here he is, a Mugo pine. Let me grab this bad boy right here. Some of these cans are heavy. All right, come here. Oh, this Firechief Arborvitae is in my way. Okay, so this is a Mugo pine. Isn't this absolutely gorgeous? I love Mugo pines. And some people don't like them, but I really do. I like the long needles. I like the little candles that they get in the spring. I like the bright green foliage that they get when they're starting to grow and then it darkens to green. They come in different sizes, and that's the biggest thing you have to make sure you do, is you have to make sure you read the tags for a Mugo pine, because you know these can be a tree too, and so they can grow like 30 feet tall and 30 feet wide. And so when you buy a dwarf can still be 10 feet wide and 5 feet high, and that's still a really big shrub. So you want to make sure that you read the tag for the size that it's going to get, and make sure that you're buying one that fits the space that you're growing in. Now, a Mugo pine can handle a little bit of shade. It will grow in full sun, and they want good drainage. And you know, I think as long as you read the tags and you pay attention to how big they get, you'll be very happy with this shrub. So this here is just a regular Mugo pine. And so this Mugo pine, actually, the tag on this one, it just says Mugo pine. And this one, it can get, oh, I can't read this without glasses. Okay, so it's saying 4 to 5 feet wide and 4 to 5 feet high and 5 to 8 feet wide. That's a big shrub. Now, if you're looking for a smaller shrub, maybe you should try like an Enci. But even an Enci, which is spelled E-N-C-I, and I have some of those growing over in my landscape. And I'll take you around a little bit and show you some practical applications of where I've planted some of these. An Enci still grows 4 to 5 feet high by 4 to 5 feet wide. So that's still a fairly large shrub. Now, if you're looking for one that's lower to the ground, I would recommend a slow mound. Those only grow 12 to 24 inches high and then maybe 3 feet wide. Or you could do a Sherwood. A Sherwood is like 2 by 2. So those would be the 2 smaller ones that I personally have grown. There's other ones out there, but again, read your tag to make sure that it's the size that you want it to be. Okay, so these Mugo pines will grow in zone 3 through 7. So that's a pretty good range for growing this evergreen. And I think the only problem, I don't know that I've ever had a problem with any pests or anything. I'm sure they're out there, but I haven't experienced any pests with the Mugo. I think maybe scale might be the only one that you might experience a problem with. It is a pine, but you could certainly treat that if you did have that problem. Okay, I had to put my glasses on. The sun is directly behind us and it's like right in my face. Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is a bird's nest spruce. I've shown you these in the tour at my house. I have these growing there. I have them growing here. They will take a little bit of shade. Mine grow in all morning sun. They get sun until about 1 o'clock and then they're shaded for the rest of the day. And then I have them growing here at the store in full blazing hot afternoon, all day sun, and they do just fine. I love these because it's got this nice soft foliage on it, and when the new foliage comes out in the spring, it's this beautiful soft bright green. They kind of have a flat top and they grow in a nice round low growing mound. They're going to grow in zone 3 through 7, and they're pretty slow growers. So these by far would be one of the slower grower ones that you're going to have. But I'll tell you what, they're pretty hardy. The biggest thing they don't like is they don't want to sit in like standing water in the spring or the fall. They need good drainage. Now, at the store, they're planted in a raised bed that was just topsoil and compost mix. And at my house, they're in clay, full clay, and they're doing great. So bird's nest spruce might be one you want to try. Okay, this next one, oh my gosh, isn't this the most glorious, beautiful thing ever? This is a dwarf blue globe spruce. I had one of these at my other house before we moved. Oh, it was my favorite shrub. They can be kind of pricey, but if you can afford one, I highly recommend getting one. They are going to be blue all year long. They are going to grow in zone 2 through 7. So they're the hardiest of all of the conifers that I'm going to show you today. They have these beautiful blue needles on them that get more blue in the summer, and they grow, and everyone's different. Now, they grow kind of in a globe, but they're not quite a tight globe, but they're really compact and they grow together. They will not grow in clay though. So you need good drainage and they want good rich soil. They also need full sun. So you could try maybe a little bit of shade, but I don't think so. I think this one, to have this vibrancy and this beauty, I think you're really gonna have to have full sun for these. They are just absolutely gorgeous. I do feed them with a all-purpose fertilizer in the spring, along with the other two as well. I pretty much fertilize all of my evergreens one time in the spring, and that's it, with just like a slow-release balanced fertilizer. But, oh my God, these are gorgeous. You could build your whole garden around just this shrub. It's so beautiful. Now, over time, this is going to get 5 to 6 feet wide and 3 to 5 feet tall, but it is considered a pretty slow grower. But isn't it glorious? Oh, if you can find these like in a smaller 2-gallon can, you're still going to pay a pretty good price for them. But boy, if you can find one, snatch it up, because the bigger they get, boy, they really go up in price. So they're so worth it though if you can grow one. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, the next grouping that I want to talk about are globe arborvitaes. So this is a globe arborvitae. This one here is a Danica, so it only gets about 2 by 2. But you can get a midget, you can get a little giant. All of them kind of graduate up in size. So again, this is one of those ones that's going to grow in this nice globe. It's got that same kind of foliage as like your emerald green or North Pole Arborvitae that grows up in a pyramid shape. But these are going to grow in these nice little globes, and they're absolutely gorgeous. Now, the one thing I have found with Arborvitaes is they're not as drought tolerant as some of the other ones that I've shown you. Once they get established, they can go for a decent amount of time without water, but they can't go for like 8-10 weeks. They need water. And these are also ones that I find that I have to water really well into the winter to make sure that they have adequate moisture to get through the winter here in zone 5. Now, this here is a Danica. It's absolutely gorgeous. I just think that these are so cute. I've never grown these as a hedge. I always just grow them as these nice little balls. I just think they're so cute. But again, make sure you find the one that's the size that you want. Don't try to make it be the size you want. Just buy the one that's gonna be the size that you want. And remember, just because it's this cute in this little can, it will grow, okay? 2x2 for a Danica. A midget's gonna get like 4x4, and I think a little giant gets like 5 or 6x6. So they can get fairly large as well if you want a bigger one. Now, another one that I really like, this one is called a Firechief. Isn't this great? This is a Firechief Arborvitae. It is growing a little bit more lower to the ground, and this foliage will get really bright orange-red in the fall. These are going to grow in zones 5 through 8. Oh, and I'm sorry, the Danica and the other ones I was talking about, the Midget, and those are 4 through 8. But the Firechief is 5 through 8. So it's not as cold hardy as some of the other ones. They're pretty slow growing. Probably in 10 years, it's going to be 2 feet high by 2 feet wide. And then another 10 years, maybe 4 by 4, super slow growing. So they're one of those tuck it in, low to the ground, nice evergreens. And I just love the soft foliage on this and the beautiful bright color. So this is a Firechief Arborvitae, and it's a globe Arborvitae again. Now, in that same vein, this is a Mr. Bowling Ball. Isn't that the greatest name? Okay, so this is the Mr. Bowling Ball, and look at the foliage on this. This is absolutely beautiful. It's slow growing. Eventually, it'll reach 24 to 30 inches tall. It wants full sun, zone 3 through 8. I have these growing in the front, and I do find that I do get pockets, and underneath the foliage will start to die. Most of the time, I can just pull it right out or snip it out, and then it'll fill back in. I do fertilize all of these in the spring, and I do sometimes have to supplement the watering on these to make sure that they don't dry out. But other than that, they just grow. I don't have to prune them. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love them. Okay, this next one, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? This is a Mops Cypress. So it's a false cypress. And so the technical name is Golden Mop Threadbare False Cypress. I know, that's just too much to say. So I just call it a Mops False Cypress. These are gorgeous. I love putting these up next to a red barberry or even that blue globe spruce. Look at those two next to each other. Isn't that glorious? Oh my gosh. I did a landscape job where I planted the two of those. I planted these, one on either side of the blue globe. Oh, it was spectacular. It was so beautiful. Now these are going to grow in zone 4 through 8. They're going to grow 3 feet tall, 4 feet wide. I've seen them get a little bit taller than that, and every one of them has kind of a different shape. They don't grow into like a ball or anything. They all are like a little bit different, but they like mound, and they have this little weeping habit to them. They're going to grow in full sun. I don't think that these are going to do well in shade. I think if you try to do them in shade, they're going to revert to green, and then I think eventually you're going to have dieback on them. I do fertilize them in the spring. And I have these growing out by the road, so I know that they're getting some salt spray on them, and they're still doing okay. So this is the Mops False Cypress. Isn't that great? I love those. Okay, and did I say they're zone 4 through 8? I think I did. So those are absolutely gorgeous. So my last group that I'm going to talk about are junipers, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different junipers that I'm going to talk about because there are so many junipers, lots and lots and lots and lots of them. Now, I like junipers. I like the medium-sized ones, and I like the low-growing ones and the little bitty ones. So I'm going to talk about those 5 different ones. So let's move the camera, and I'm going to show you 3 of them that I have over here. One that's growing in the ground, and then another one that I have up front by my bubbling boulder. Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about these junipers. I like junipers. I know some people don't, but I do. I think that they serve a purpose. I think I like them as ground covers. I like them as shrubs. I like them as backgrounds and anchors to create that green that you're looking for and to give you that bones and the structure that you need in your garden. That's what all of these evergreens do for you. So that's why I like to plant them, because you need structure and you need those anchors in your garden all year long. So that way you can plant around everything, but these are like the bones of your garden. Okay, this first one I'm going to talk about, this is a blue star juniper. It's a little bitty, and it's got little bitty needles on there, and I just love this one. This is a very small juniper. It's only going to grow maybe 2 by 2, maybe 2.5 by 2.5, not very big. It's going to be a slow grower. I have some growing up front. They're like 9 years old, and they're not very big. I'll take you around and show you some of the evergreens that I have planted, but I really like the blue star juniper. It is going to grow in zone 4 through 8. And most junipers, once you get them established, are drought tolerant. And I like that about them too. Most of them can handle a little bit of shade, and most of them can handle full sun. So they're very versatile, and they're not real picky about the soil that you put them in either. They pretty much will grow in anything. And they're really good in urban settings too, and do well that way. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is this one right here. Oh, this one is beautiful. This is a Nana, and I like this one. Again, it's got that short needle. It's not as pokey as some of the other junipers out there, and it grows really low to the ground. These are going to only get 8 to 12 inches high, but one little Nana gets about 6 feet wide, so it's a great ground cover juniper. It's got a beautiful green to it. It'll grow just beautifully, and I have these growing out by the road, so they get snow pushed on them, they get salt on them, and these are just super hardy. I love these. I like the short needle on them too, so I like that a lot. Okay, another one that I really like right here. This, look at how this drapes over this wall here. Now, this is still in its can. This is just to kind of show you like what this one would do draping over the wall. This one is called Blue Pacific. I just love this one. It's going to grow 5 to 6 feet wide, and it's going to get maybe 12 to 18 inches high. And again, it's got that softer needle on it, and I just love it. These are going to grow in zone 5 through 9. Oh, and this other one, the Nana, is 4 through 9. And I just love that. I love this one's got like a blue-green color to it. And it's just, the needles are just a little bit longer, but I just like that it's kind of soft. Now this one back here, look at this one. Woohoo, I love this one too. This one's called Daubs Frosted, and it's gonna get about 3 to 5 feet, yeah, it can get 3 to 5 feet high, so it's a fairly large one. Most of the ones that I grow stay around 3 or 4. I've never seen them get to 5, but I'm sure they can if they're very happy. But they're also going to get 3 to 4 feet wide. So they're not as wide as some of the ones that you see, but I love the yellow tips on them. Now there's another one out there called Gold Coast. It also has yellow tips on it, but I don't think it's as pretty as the Daubs Frosted, so I like this one better. And so I've used these for a lot, and I really like them. Now I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to show you another one that I have planted behind our rock wall, and it creates like this green base in between. We plant the top and the bottom of the wall with annuals, and the green kind of threads through the center. And so these are Kallay compacts, and I like these as well. Okay, so these are the Kallay compacts, and these get about 3 feet high, and they get 4 to 5 feet wide. And these are 4 years old, so they've been in here for a while. And so they go all the way down there. And I think there's 3 in there, and I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 7. 7 of them in this area right here. And so we plant down below, and then we plant back behind it as well with annuals. So those are the Kallay compacts. They're just a green juniper, but they are a nice anchor. Okay, so I thought I'd start with these Mops Cypress. And as you can see, even though that tag said it only gets 3 to 4 feet tall, this thing is a little bit taller than me. And as you can see, they're pretty different in their shape, but aren't they just absolutely gorgeous? I just think that these things are beautiful. I just love their shape. I love the way they look. So they give me a little bit of size, but I don't prune these at all. Okay, that's from the other view. So that is the Mops Fall Cypress. And you can see, we'll get salt spray from the road. Okay, here is a Mr. Bowling Ball. Isn't it cute? And so as you can see, you do get a little bit of winter dead in here. And so underneath here, you can see like a little bit of that. It just pulls right out. And then it'll fill back in, just fertilize it. If you get this, see, I can just pull it right off. And it totally will be fine. And then we just keep it watered. But see, isn't that gorgeous? He's full grown. He's not getting any bigger than that. But that is the Mr. Bowling Ball Globe Arborvitae. All right, these are the Nana junipers. And see, they just make a nice ground cover. There's 3 of them in here. And they just stay real low to the ground. And they get about 6 feet wide. All right, now these are the Daubs Frost, and these are only starting, they're at the start of year 3. Look at those beautiful tips on there, but they're not very big yet, so they're pretty slow growing. And I'm gonna show you some that are, I think they're 7 years old. These are in full blazing sun. Okay, now these are the same shrub, but they're 7 years old. I have them in a little bit more shade because here I have a red bud and a snowball viburnum. So they don't get as much sun, they get a little more protection. So they aren't getting the hot afternoon sun until about right now. So they're protected up until about 2 o'clock. But so they aren't as high, but they're still just as gorgeous. Okay, so here's the Mops Cypress again. See, this one's smaller. I haven't pruned it, but this one's only, I think it's going into year 4. So see how different situations will make things grow differently? See, and here it is again, planted with a group of alliums and some crimson pygmy barberries. Isn't that just gorgeous? And this gets a lot of morning sun, and it's protected because we have this perfect pillar crab apple right there that is providing shade in the afternoon. But it still looks pretty good because it's getting sun up until about 2. All right, now this bed is also about 3 years old, and this is a regular Enci Mugo pine, and they're gonna get probably 4x4, and they are in they're going into year 4. Yep, year 4. And so those are the Mugos there, and then we have 3 bird's nest spruce, which are a lot slower on the grow than the Mugos, and we have 3 of those right there. But aren't those just the most beautiful green? And these are, you can see the bed is kind of raised up. So this is a mixture of topsoil and compost, and we raised it up. This used to be a parking lot, and we made this raised bed here for them to grow in. So this one's doing pretty good. So this gets full sun all day, all morning, all the time. Okay, and then the last one I want to show you are the little blue stars. These have been in here for 9 years, and so they're 2x2. The other one on the other side isn't as big though, so I think that one gets a little bit more shade and this one gets a little bit more sun. But if I come over here, see how this one is smaller? And it's never really gotten any bigger than that. So I just like those. They're just so cute if you're looking for that little vignette to tuck into the landscape. Okay, so there's my little collection of the ones that I love. And maybe there's one in there that you'll love too. As I get older, look at my garden, and I'm always trying to not garden less, but I need things in my garden that are just going to be stable and they're just going to be there for me. And then other things I can piddle around with, like perennials and things like that. But I do try to look for those, what I call high impact, low maintenance things. And I think these conifers are beautiful. They're hardy. They do well. I have experience with all of them, so I know they're going to grow well. Very rarely do I lose any of them. I think the only one that I've ever really lost or had bad luck with was maybe the globe Arborvitae, because I just didn't water it enough and we went through a really dry summer and I just didn't pay attention to it. But for the most part, these are wonderful for me. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you learned something or you found something that you loved. Stay tuned for our next video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Have a good day and keep on gardening.